Well, at an early stage, you never know that it's going to work. It's always um, there's some question about how it plays out because it depends on how the market evolves. It depends on what happens with competition. So you never have certainty from the early stage.
Really?
But you have things which say, hey, it's possible. Like this is a good startup to invest in, a good startup to start. And how I knew those things was, I said, well, this was 2002, 2003, and it was actually we're moving from a pure information age to a network age in terms of what are individuals' participation in the world and what kinds of products are available. And so my optimism was based on the theory that the technology and the impact in our lives was actually was still at a very early stage and was just beginning. It was like, no, there's a lot more that can happen here that's really, really valuable, and it transforms different parts of life. And so that was the reason I had my optimism. What I wanted to do, and I want to do, and I hopefully have been doing, is to change the world for millions of people at scale and to enable how they can change their own lives. The internet has a particular way by which it's a medium that we're all involved in. It becomes a way that you can define these networks or marketplaces or platforms. And that can change the lives of millions to hundreds of millions of people. That's one of the major reasons why I ended up going to the internet industry. Well, maybe I still am preparing. It'd be a lifelong thing. As you're probably familiar with in the book, we say be in permanent beta,
right?
Which is always be learning and trying. I would say that I spent a couple of years building up the skill sets that would be helpful for me to finally kind of, jumping off the cliff and doing it. Because you should be very familiar with what product development looks like in the area that you want to be an entrepreneur, and that you should be familiar with kind of what go-to-market strategy should be. When you have an idea for a product, it's not just good enough that the product is good. You have to have a good idea for how that product goes from 0 people to 100,000 people to 1 million people, to millions of people. And frequently in Silicon Valley, we call that a distribution plan. And so I came up with an interesting product idea, but I didn't come up with a way that it moved through those steps. We thought we would just partner with newspapers, and newspapers would make it happen, and that idea failed. And so one of the key things that I learned from the failure of Social Net that is not only do you have to have a good sense of what the product is that can transform people's lives, but also how you scale it to get into the millions of people. And that's, we clearly got that right with LinkedIn. We now live in a networked age. And part of living in a networked age is the way that you can navigate and make decisions effectively and make things happen is to work through the network. And so, a key thing for me has been the advice that I get. Like, for example, people ask me, like, who's your mentor? And I say, well, I actually have a number of mentors through my network. And they say, how do you discover the right path? And the answer is, I go talk to smart people who can give me some perspective. And I use that as kind of like radar, as sonar, to navigate a path. And so one of the things I think about living in a networked age is it's however capable you are as an individual, whatever your skills are, you're much better amplified if you work well with your network. Cheers. The startup is you, and I look forward to your future success.